What's up, guys? My name is Frederick, and welcome to part 8 of Road to Becoming a Millionaire, aka multi-millionaire, aka Road to 5K month with copywriting. This is, I think, the third time that I'm sharing the metrics from the month, and it's going to be a pretty quick video. I'm not going to talk about any fluff. I'm just going to talk about what's happened in the last 2 weeks / the month, the bad things, the good things, the lessons here, and then the new metrics of what actually happened. And this is for you just to see like what is actually happening if someone is running such a business. And guess what? I'm not like making 10K a month after 2 months of running this entire stuff. I'm just going to share with you the brutal truth and what my lessons are, so that you can save yourself from, probably in this case, actually you can save yourself the entire 2 weeks that I just went through. So updates. First of all, I'm going to quickly repeat the updates that I had 2 weeks ago, which was I was finding new leads. Then I had pretty good reply rates, so like 1% reply rate, 8% view rate on the videos that I was sending out, outreach for my client. My client is paying me like $100 per show up on appointments. So I'm essentially doing appointment booking for them, which is at the end everything that you're doing as soon as you're dealing with clients who have a high ticket business, because they always want to have sales calls and you need to book them for them. And that's usually what they struggle with the most, or think that they struggle with the most. In reality, it's just probably that their service is trash or something. Anyway, that's what the people need help with. And I had the first book call for this guy. Then we realized that the niche wasn't viable and we started over again, basically. I had to reset my entire progress. Then I built the second system, and then I did reps with that system. That's where we finished off the last episode, and now I'm going to teach you. I'm going to show you what actually happened now. And what happened is that I tried that out, and the new niche, by the way, we went over to Realtors on YouTube, and I booked him another 3 calls, which means that I made money. And sorry, I actually have to make this blue. Yeah, shoot, now I see everything else. Anyway, I wanted to make this blue because this is an outcome, right? I haven't myself booked the calls. I have done things that booked the calls, but the things that have booked the calls were the reps. And actually the reps have to be like green or something. That's actually what we would have to do, right? Because these calls, obviously we want them and that's what we're optimizing for, but they only come from the reps that we're actually doing. And then, after having booked these calls, about Easter, so 2 weeks ago, the reply rates went down significantly. So I used to have like 8% view rate. On this one, I even had like 12%, 13%. And then I had 2 or 4%, something like that. Very, very bad. And I was wondering what's going on, because I changed a little thing in my campaign and I was like, okay, maybe it's a bit worse. But, like when at the beginning, like 4 people are watching and now it's just 1 and all of these other people don't care about your stuff anymore and you just changed like 2 things. You're wondering, like, what's actually going on? Anyway, I thought, okay, maybe I just have to try some more things. I have to add some more volume. And then I thought, okay, I'm doing pretty low leverage stuff. Like I'm literally making like $3 an hour at that point. And I was like, okay, I have to do something. I have to get more leverage into that. And what I decided to do is that I started to hire VA, so virtual assistants, other people from all the world, to do that for me. And I literally, I'm paying them like standard like VA like wages of like $3 to $4 an hour, which is actually like not much less than I'm making myself at the moment, which is quite embarrassing, but that's just how it works when you're starting a business. And if you can't get through that phase, then you're never going to become successful. That's just how it works. And I started to do that. I started to build SOPs for them. So I showed them how my process is working, which is essentially pretty good for the future, right? If I have a system now that's actually good and I have people who can run that for me and I've shared my knowledge with them, then they can scale. Like, like imagine me having like 10 people. I can just send out 10 times as much as at the beginning. And that can literally get you to like more than 10K a month, which is not even that much considering that you have like 10 people maybe working for you. But it's still like some leverage. And remember, my goal right now is just to make maybe 10K or a bit more, because I do not want to book appointments for people my entire life. I want to do something that's actually like purposeful and actually helping people, something where I actually do have an edge, which is something that I would recommend for you as well. Anyway, I then even started to build out more infrastructure. So essentially just making my systems capable of sending twice the amount of volume. And you may be wondering, okay, so the reply rates are going down, right? So why on earth would someone do that? I did that because I thought it was a temporary thing and that I will get to like 3 calls in 2 weeks or something again. And if I have double the volume and I have VAs that can run that, then I would have like 6 calls, which means like twice the revenue. Makes sense. And I did that, and then I realized, together with my client, that the niche that we're in is too saturated again. And you might realize, okay, that already did happen here, so that's trash. And the entire progress that I had is reset again. And essentially, I'm at the point where I could have been like a month ago, if I knew what would have been happening and everything. But still, I booked some calls, so it's quite okay. Yeah, and I have to start over again, like I said. And then I built the third system. This time it's like home service-based people. So essentially it's people who come to your home and then they make sure that it's like more energy efficient to save you some money. People like that. So that's the system now. And then with that new system, I can't remove that thing. Oh. I sent out these outreaches again and I got zero replies. And I think from 150 people that I reached out to, 1 of them watched the video. And usually, if I'm calculating here, if I'm having like 10% of view rate, let's say, like 10%, I would have like 50 people, right? And I had 1. So something is seriously wrong. And then I was like, okay, maybe it's actually my deliverability. So, it's a cold email system. Maybe the problem is just that when I'm sending out emails, that they're just not hitting the inbox. Maybe they're going into spam. And then I checked that and realized that's the fucking truth. And nothing is landing in the actual inbox. Like pretty much everything is going into spam. So yeah, last Monday, so yes, like the day before yesterday, I started to fix my deliverability and I did everything that I could to improve that. And I tried to figure it out together with ChatGPT. And I tried to figure out what the problem was and the reason why nothing ever happened again and why I didn't make any money in the last 2 weeks. And it honestly doesn't matter too much what the actual problem was because you're probably not too much into the topic. But I had something wrong with the campaign and that led to a lot, it deteriorated the email reputation a lot and I got way worse like reply rates on that. And now I'm essentially just having a pause and I'm starting to improve the deliverability again, which is going to take another week and it's fucking painful because I can't do anything in that time really, or at least not the actual like high leverage activities with my plan. But at least it's getting better and then I can get back to where I was, so essentially this. I think it more likely that this could happen soon. And yeah, that's what's currently happening. And for that reason, that's like yellow, so it's actually good, but I can't do much. Right, that's what happened. And I'm gonna get that back here because it just looks better, in my opinion. Okay, lessons. What can you learn from that? I just told you like for 8 minutes, and congrats if you're still watching that. Congrats on your attention span. What can you actually learn from that? First of all, if you're doing email, check your deliverability. And not just by, like instantly and the standard test with like, are you on any blacklists? If you use instantly to send out your emails, for the guys who don't send emails, this is just a tool and you can use that to send out your emails on more scale. And what you need to do there is, like always, before running a campaign, you have to do inbox placement tests because these actually send things out and then they actually check with the specific settings that you have. So the exact thing that you're going to use when you're sending, they're going to check out if that's going to land in the spam. Because if you don't do that, instantly it's maybe just telling you, yeah, you have like 100% in your accounts, and that's fine. And I had exactly that, and I had exactly the problem that nothing landed in the actual inbox. That's very, very important. And if you're ever sending emails, if your deliverability is down, you're just wasting the leads. You're wasting the money. You're reaching out to people without like any sense, right? And you might as well just do fucking like Instagram DMs or something like that. Not to say that this is certainly bad, but for me personally, email just worked a lot better. The second thing, which is probably even more important, or similarly important in comparison to deliverability, is that you need to stick to one damn thing entirely for your business, or as long as you can sustain the thing, and you should not ever switch your product, your service, your niche, whatever. You should just focus on one thing, one product, one type of person that you're selling that to, and you should only change that if you're making, I don't know, like 6 figures with that, like 10K a month, $8,000 a month. Only then should you actually start switching that. The only caveat to this is if you want to do something long term in the future, and you can't do that right now because you just don't have the money for that, and you need to do something before that to make the money, which is what I'm doing right now, then obviously you do not want to stick to that what you're doing right now for as long as possible. You want to stick to the future thing as long as possible, so you want to start that as early as possible and do the current thing as short as possible. Anyway, why I'm saying that, I'm saying that because I switched the niche with my client twice, and I essentially just reset my progress twice. I could be at $1,000 a month if I had done these 2 things. I could probably be at 1.5K a month already. So a lot more than I'm doing right now. Let's put it this way. And the other thing, and this is very, very common amongst entrepreneurs. So if you're watching this right now and you're like an average person, this is going to be incredibly important for you. Because if you're somewhat like me or the average entrepreneur that's running a business, you are a lot more impatient about your success than you think you are. Because you probably have that feeling, I want to make a certain amount per month of money, and I have made that amount last month, and this month I'm lower. Fuck. And next month you're not even much better. Fuck. And you're just doing that all the time, and you're just lowering, like you're always below your expectations that you have for your income, and you're always thinking that you're just bad and that everyone else is better than you. But the reality is, when you look at the actual time that someone is sticking to one thing and improving on that and doing some repetitions on that and putting in a certain amount of work and pain into that, it's almost the same time always how much the people are making after a certain amount of time. And it will just take multiple years for you to get to 10K a month. Very, very likely. It can go faster, but why on earth would you expect it to go fast if it can take longer? And why on earth would it be a stupid decision to think that it's going to take very long and then you're faster, right? Like, that's a good thing. So you just have to accept that business is going to be very painful, and your entire situation in your life is going to be very painful for multiple years. And only if you can have the ability to go through that, it will maybe not be that bad, right? But only if you have the ability to do that are you going to succeed in any way. That's very, very important. You have to understand that it's painful and that it's going to be in that way for very, very long, and that your results are not going to get better for multiple months, and also that you're going to feel like you're not actually making progress and doing the right inputs, because that's what you're feeling like if your income is not really improving, honestly. So you have to accept that, and you just have to ignore that, and the only thing you should focus on is your specific goal, and then you have to break it down into the single segments, and then you have to think of how can you achieve these single segments of the goal in order to get there. So in my case, appointment booking rate, how much the client is paying me per appointment, and how many outreaches I can send to book the appointments with the appointment booking rate. That's essentially what I have to focus on, but that depends on what you're particularly doing. These lessons will save you months, if not years, in business if you follow them. Okay, now we can move on. So, the metrics. If we recall from last month, I'm just going to do them like one by one. So, in March, we had... Shoot, I forgot something. Okay, nothing has changed. You probably don't see any difference. So, now, about the views. So, we had 166 views. Not much, honestly. I'm just running this channel, documenting my journey, and I'm not making any fucking money. No wonder why nobody's watching the videos. And honestly, it's actually not my priority, right? My priority is that email thing. And as soon as that is working, and I'm trying to start something else, and I want to get more calls from YouTube, then I will focus on YouTube. Before that, this is just for you to see my journey, right? And learn something, but I'm not doing like any fucking like editing or like YouTube packaging with crazy titles or something. It's just not high leverage for me to do that right now, and it's just wasting my time. Total lives changed was at 3, so essentially just the clients that I have right now or had. Then the total income went down, so in February it was higher, and then it went down to like 170 about ish in euros, and bank account was at 600 euros and a bit more. So pretty bad from like the average comparisons that you see, and probably even lower than your actual account, whatever you're starting from. Now, the views are going down, and that makes sense because I'm just making half the videos, so it doesn't, I'm not trying to do any clickbait here. That's not the most important thing. Total lives didn't change because I still have the same client and I'm still like doing stuff for him. Now, income. And this is where, I did all these things and my income went down so far, right? And now, this month, it went up by 288%. So it tripled, it actually quadrupled from the month before. And it's even higher as well than in February. It's not much higher. If you recall, it was like 603 euros or something. So not much better, but this is almost the best month that I ever had with this new method. And you maybe have realized that for 2 weeks in that month, I could not send anything out. So I could have maybe done like twice that amount, right? So it's very scalable. I can repeat the process now. It's not like getting a copywriting client and you just hope that you can get the client again, or you hope that your copy is going to be good so you can turn that client into a retainer. And that's the reason why I'm doing it that way with emails. And as a little proof for that, here's my Stripe screenshot. So we have like 550 here, and then we have like another $125 from PayPal. And yeah, so that's a lot better, and I'm very happy obviously with that, but I'm a bit afraid that it's going to go low again because I'm starting again in a new niche, and it's going to take a bit until it's actually like exceeding like 1K, and then obviously finally 5K, because actually we're starting to go, trying to go to 5K, and it's probably going to take till the end of the year to get there. But that's just the brutal reality, and something that, only something that takes long to build will actually last for a long time. And when you spend a lot of time to learn a certain skill that can make you money, then the skill won't get lost, and you just need some freaking time to do things. Don't be impatient, don't set yourself any expectations, believe that you're not going to make any money for a year straight. It's going to be fucking painful, and then after some time you're actually going to make money. But then as soon as you make this, you will never have to be afraid that you will go ever down again, because you have the skills now, and you know what you can do, and you know all the principles, and you know how to think for yourselves, and you do not need to follow any gurus. You can just do it yourself, but it just takes some time and some hard work on that. Sorry. Bank account also went up a little bit, and in total, I was very, very excited to hit like the 1K in total with everything, because I'm obviously for example, that PayPal account did not go into that here, so it's actually like more than 1K. Weird flex, I know, probably most people have more than 1K in total, but that shows to me that I'm actually at a better place than when I was starting a business, and now I'm actually like almost starting to have some way of profit, which is quite cool. Yeah, that's really what happened. And remember the lessons, do work, and see that you're following your goals, and that you just focus, and that you're not wasting your time on any other things, and that you're not setting yourself any, what the fuck's going on now, I'm sorry, and that you're not setting yourself any crazy expectations. And yeah, you'll see what's going to happen in the next video, the new like things that happen. You can follow my journey. If you haven't watched the other parts before that, then you can see how I started with that entire thing, and how much money I was making at the beginning, and how bad things look like, and how long it's actually taking to do these things. And I'm actually like working like 8 hours, 9 hours a day. So that's just what happens. If you want to see how that can work and what you can expect, then do it, and then you can try to do it better than I am.